This is Yeah, We're Going There with Dr. Natalie, breaking the silence on pelvic health for women and men. Yeah, we're going there because knowledge drives better health. Hey everyone, today's topic is going to be on estrogen dominance. It's a term that gets used a lot, but not explained a lot. So that's my goal today, is to clarify what it means. And I'm going to actually use my own background and history to explain how I learned about it and what I did about it. So let's start. The average age at menopause in the United States is 52 years of age. When I was 51, noticed that I was a little thick around the middle and losing weight was much more work. It didn't matter how much I worked out or how carefully I ate, it wasn't easy. I also was starting to have trouble sleeping. And being a women's health physical therapist, I knew that the weight issue and the sleep issue were both symptoms of menopause. So I reached out to my good friend, who was also my gynecologist, to get more information. I don't remember exactly how I was assessed, whether it was through blood work or a saliva test, but not surprisingly, my cortisol levels, which are our stress hormone, were off the charts. I didn't find that shocking, as I worked full-time, was starting a fitness company, was in the process of getting my doctorate. I'm sure you could all imagine. She recommended that I reduce stress, and she prescribed micronized progesterone to help me with my sleep issue. The micronized progesterone made a huge difference with my sleep. Reducing stress wasn't so easy. She also told me, interestingly, that I was estrogen dominant. Now, having never heard that term before, my research began. Estrogen dominance occurs when estrogen levels are disproportionately high compared to progesterone, which is the hormone that helps keep estrogen balanced. So ideally, you want them to be kind of level, equal amounts of both. And I wondered, how could I be estrogen dominant if I was now taking progesterone nightly to help me sleep? And if I'm technically perimenopausal, isn't it true that my estrogen levels are in fact dropping or were dropping? So the whole thing didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense that I'm taking progesterone and my body's not producing estrogen, but I'm estrogen dominant. Well, in today's world, estrogen dominance is not only more prevalent, but it's also occurring earlier. Many women in their 20s and 30s are now experiencing symptoms that were once reserved for perimenopausal women. Why? One major reason is environmental. We are surrounded by estrogen-mimicking chemicals that are called xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens are synthetic compounds that are found in plastics, personal care products, cleaning agents, pesticides, even tap water. They look like estrogen to the body, and they bind to estrogen receptors, triggering biological responses. But those biological responses are even more strongly triggered than the real thing. Meaning, the fake estrogen or the synthetic estrogen has more of a reaction than our natural estrogen. And over time, this chronic exposure can tip the hormonal balance, especially if the liver, which is our detoxifying powerhouse, isn't functioning optimally. Another contributing factor is stress. Chronic stress doesn't just wear us out mentally. It has profound effects on hormone production. When we're under constant pressure, the body prioritizes cortisol production over progesterone, since they share the same precursor, pregnenolone. not an easy word to say. This phenomenon, known as Pregnenolone steal, means progesterone levels can drop significantly during times of prolonged stress, even if estrogen levels remain the same. This drop in progesterone will push you towards estrogen dominance. Hormonal birth control is another piece of the puzzle. Many contraceptives contain synthetic estrogens or progestins, which are not the same as natural progesterone. And these compounds can suppress natural hormone production and disrupt the body's feedback system, leading to imbalances that persist even after stopping the pill or the oral contraceptive. Add to that poor sleep, sugar-heavy diets, sedentary lifestyles, and overexposure to blue lights and stimulants, and you have a perfect storm for estrogen dominance. There are 4 naturally occurring estrogens in our body: estrone, which is E1, estradiol, which is E2, estriol, which is E3, and estetrol, which is E4. During the reproductive portion of our lives, our ovaries will produce estradiol, which is the most potent of the estrogens. But as we've discussed with menopause, our ovaries stop its production and our estradiol levels drop. After menopause, estrone, or E1, becomes the dominant form, for it is the only estrogen that the body continues to produce, and it's mainly produced in fat tissue. Estriol, or E3, and estetrol, E4, are mainly produced during pregnancy. So, as an aside, we don't need to worry too much about those later in life, but just for sake of completion and to understand the different types of estrogens in our body, I felt it was important to share them. Interestingly, estrogen can also be produced outside of our bodies. And these type of estrogens include phytoestrogens, which are found in plants that we often consume, such as soybeans and legumes. Then there are synthetic estrogens that are produced for medical purposes, such as contraceptives that we've already talked about, and even hormone replacement therapy. Lastly, xenoestrogens. These are derived from the breakdown of products in our environment, such as plastics, electronics, medicines, food, soaps, and pesticides. And as I mentioned, xenoestrogens are more potent than the estrogen that our bodies produce, and that's not a good thing, for they disrupt the natural processes in our body. So they're considered endocrine disruptors. Or to put it in another way, they disrupt our normal hormone system. So they're known as hormone disruptors. So let's go back to my doctor's visit. We know that I was 51, so I was most likely perimenopausal, and I was taking oral micronized progesterone. Yet remember, my blood test said that my estradiol E2 levels were 265.3 picograms per milliliter. At 51 years old, normal estradiol levels should be below 25.1 picograms per milliliter. So where was all this estrogen coming from? And how was I going to lower it? I wasn't on oral contraception at the time or hormone replacement therapy, so I wasn't getting it from synthetic estrogen. Also, phytoestrogens, remember, legumes, soybeans, they weren't really a big part of my diet. So what did that leave? That left xenoestrogens. So, xeno means foreign. Xenoestrogen means foreign or not naturally produced estrogen. They are artificial compounds that mimic estrogen. And the biggest culprits are products that contain the following ingredients. Sodium lauryl sulfates. You would see that on the ingredients, or you could see SLS. And they are typically found in soaps and shampoos. Other xenoestrogens are parabens. We see a lot of products now that will be marketed as paraben-free because parabens are xenoestrogens found in preservatives. I don't know how to pronounce this. I could say BPA, but it stands for B is phenol A. And what that is that PBA we know leaches out of plastic water bottles when they're left sitting in the sun. That's a xenoestrogen. Another one is propylene glycol, which is used as solvents and cleaners to dissolve grease. Phthalates, which can be found in baby powder, lotions, and perfume. Petroleum, which is known to impair cellular function, is in a lot of products. DEA and MEA are found in bath products and shaving products and can be toxic. Urea is a product that's found in many skincare products. And butyl or ethyl acetate, which are both toxic and carcinogenic, are found in many of the products that we use daily. There are more, but this list is a start. So as you can see, there are a lot of xenoestrogens, and I'm only just naming some. As I mentioned before, xenoestrogens often accumulate in fat tissue, potentially leading to excess body fat. They can alter our metabolism, causing increased appetite and obesity. The most common signs of estrogen imbalance that can result from xenoestrogen exposure include bloating, upset stomach, acne, mood swings, tender, swollen, or fibrocystic breasts, and they can contribute to diabetes or affect thyroid function. Xenoestrogens are literally everywhere. So how do we avoid them? I'll tell you what I did. First, I threw away my dryer sheets, which I had read were the biggest offenders, and literally went through every product in my house with a magnifying glass, checking to see if they contained any of the ingredients that I've previously mentioned. I discovered that almost every product I had used had at least one of these ingredients. I was on a mission to replace absolutely everything from my hand soap that I literally had at every sink in my home to my toothpaste, antiperspirant, skin cream, shampoo, dry shampoo, hair mousse, anti-aging skincare products, and my makeup. I had items that I hadn't even opened yet, and they couldn't be returned. So some of it I gave away, some of it I tried to sell on eBay. It was shocking to see how everything I assumed was safe was not. My husband literally thought I was crazy getting rid of so many items and then needing to replace them. And he really didn't believe that it would change anything. But I did. I was determined to do this study or this analysis. So I replaced all the products with healthier, safer, cleaner products. That said, they were paraben-free or phthalate-free and so on. I spent hours researching everything online and in stores. And don't forget, I had a lot of products to replace. It was a process. And I'm glad to say I was able to replace everything and even found that I had some new favorites, which I still use today. For example, Tom's of Maine Coconut Lavender Antiperspirant and EOS. I think that's just it's called how it's spelled, EOS, Shea Butter Shave Cream in Vanilla Bliss. I still buy it today. I made a few other changes that I read would help, including eating more cruciferous vegetables and fermented foods, and discovered Bubby's pickles, which are the best. My doctor recommended that I take a supplement called DIM, and don't ask me to pronounce that, but it's spelled DIM. And it acts as an anti-estrogen in the body. So if I was estrogen dominant, it was in the process of helping reduce the wrong estrogens. I changed all my Tupperware from plastic to glass and got rid of all the air fresheners and only used natural or clean products. I'm sure that there are more changes I could have made, but the changes I made definitely had the intended results. Remember, my initial blood test was done, let's say March 20th, I think, 2020. And I repeated it June 29th, 2020. So, drum roll, please. My estrogen levels, and that's in about 2.5, 3 months, went down from 265.3 to 49.7 picograms per milliliter. And best of all, I felt amazing. I slept better, lost some weight in the process, and learned so much. Remember, normal levels for my age are below 25. But what a significant change in just 2.5 months. Since that time, I've continued to check ingredients in everything I buy and do my best to educate others to improve their quality of life as well. It's been a process for me, but I feel good. And that's what I really take out of this, is that I feel healthy. I feel energized. I've continued to keep my blood work and my estrogen to progesterone levels in sync. And I'm hoping that this podcast will offer you more insight and knowledge to be able to make or start making those changes in your life. Now, it's not just perimenopause or postmenopause. All these products and xenoestrogens, you don't have to wait till you're in your 50s to start cleaning them out of your house. If you have daughters who are getting their periods and hormonal, hormones really mess up mood and everything else. So, our young men as well, we don't know long term what all these chemicals are doing to our bodies. So, if you have options, my feeling is get educated, make changes so you could live a long, healthy life. Okay, guys, until next time, thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to Yeah, We're Going There with Dr. Natalie. If this conversation helped you feel more informed or less alone, consider subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing the episode. Until next time, yeah, we're going there because knowledge drives better health.